Russian venture capitalist is claiming very substantial damages over claims in a dossier about alleged links between Donald Trump and Russia that suggested he was involved in cybercrime. Lawyers for Alexei Gabarev, who runs an IT business, told a court former British spy Christopher Steele's dossier made grave allegations as to knowing involvement in the hacking of the Democratic National Committee in the run-up to the 2016 U.S. presidential election. Mr. Gabarev, and a company he runs called Webzilla, launched their legal action after BuzzFeed published the Steele dossier in 2017. He says he has been defamed by Mr. Steele and Orbis Business Intelligence, a London corporate intelligence consultancy co-founded by Mr. Steele. Orbis and Mr. Steele are fighting the claim at a High Court hearing in London, which began yesterday. Andrew Caldecott QC, who leads Mr. Gabarev's legal team, said the dossier consisted of memoranda written by Mr. Steele on the relationship between Mr. Trump, his team and Russia. One memorandum within the Steele dossier named the claimants, making grave allegations as to knowing involvement in the hacking of the computer systems of the Democratic National Committee in the run-up to the 2016 election, he told Mr. Justice Warby. Needless to say, the Steele dossier, or the gist of its allegations, went viral. The suggestion Mr. Gabarev and his companies were knowingly using their servers for cybercrime created, we submit, an obvious likelihood of serious financial loss. The dossier was commissioned by a Washington, D.C. consultancy acting for a law firm, the judge heard, but Mr. Caldecott said the ultimate client had been the DNC and/or the Clinton campaign. Mr. Caldecott said there was a practical ceiling of about £325,000, €359,000, on defamation damages. He said he would not argue an award at the very top of the bracket was appropriate, but very substantial damages were required to vindicate and compensate Mr. Gabarev. Mr. Caldecott said there was no suggestion that the allegations against Mr. Gabarev and Webzilla were true. He said BuzzFeed had apologized and redacted the names of Mr. Gabarev and Webzilla from their website. He added that Mr. Gabarev was not suggesting that Orbis and Mr. Steele had been malicious, but the central question was whether they were responsible in law for the publication of the Steele dossier by BuzzFeed. He said Mr. Gabarev's case was that they were. Mr. Steele disagrees and says the claim should be dismissed. Gary Miller QC, who leads Mr. Steele's legal team, said BuzzFeed's publication of a confidential memorandum was unauthorized. He said neither Orbis or Mr. Steele intended the memorandum to be made public, did not provide it to BuzzFeed and could not have foreseen that anyone would acquire or publish a copy. The memorandum was produced for the sole purpose of ensuring authorities in the US and UK were aware of confidential and sensitive intelligence which had significant national security implications. Earlier this month, two Russian businessmen won a data protection fight at the High Court in London after making complaints about the dossier. Peter Avon and Mikhail Friedman were each awarded £18,000 compensation after complaining that information about them in the dossier was inaccurate and a breach of English data protection law. Irish Independent. Let's block ad.
Show your love for him. Click the link in description. Thanks for watching.